Hi, everyone. We are here with another LinkedIn Live. I am Alyssa Adams. I'm the Director of Executive Coaching with Team Performance Institute. And I am joined today by the wonderful Norma, who is a TPI Executive Coach. And she is going to share her wonderful wisdom around how to run a meeting people won't hate. Welcome, Norma.
Great,
Thank you for being here.
great topic. Thanks, Alyssa. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about being here. So,
Of
yeah, I
course.
love this meeting. I love this topic about meetings. So,
Great. There's a lot to pack in today, so we'll try to get in as much as we can. But let's start with just kind of laying the foundation and tell us, Norma, how people generally feel about meetings.
honestly, I hear a lot about meetings, and I'll tell you, people are feeling meetinged out.
Mhm.
Most of my clients are talking about being all day, back to back to back to back meetings, no time in between for bio breaks, no time to kind of prepare for the next meeting or even be emotionally like present, right? Because they're rushing. And no time to really consolidate the information they had from the other meetings, and then they end up doing their real work or emails after hours at home or on weekends, and that's kind of stressful, and of course sometimes meetings are considered boring or not relevant to them. Now, a lot of meetings are super helpful for sure, right? Those in which you're learning, you're making decisions, you're moving the ball forward. um, it's really in the clarity of the meeting that meetings are helpful. So it really just kind of depends, but there's a lot of them, and I really feel for people.
Yeah, yeah, that's well said. And it kind of brings up some ideas around, what really needs to be in the format of a meeting versus
Hmm.
what could be communicated in a different way. And
For
it
sure.
sounds like one of the pitfalls could be that people could still walk away from a meeting and be unclear about what the plan is, who's doing what. So, how would you suggest people communicate clarity to their team
Well, in terms of in the
in
meetings, you
meetings?
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
I really, it's kind of like, what is the intention? Like the point of meetings should be to enhance and ensure necessary clarification and communication, right?
Mhm.
So, what are the decisions being made at the executive level? What do people need to know across the organization to make sure that the priorities are straight, or even
Mhm.
communication, from quote unquote down up, right? If there's a problem on a line in manufacturing,
Mhm.
making sure that the executives know what's going on and, hey, we need help or we need to get this thing fixed. So enhancing communication is a key piece. And the other point is, the other intention of meetings is to move projects and results forward,
Mhm.
right? Is to, and that could be communication, it could be getting buy-in, but it also could be about making decisions and setting next steps. Um, it's really in getting things moving forward that is really critical. And so, in terms of getting clarity of what are we doing, who's doing what, when are we going to get things done, what the next steps are, it's that's just a really key piece to effective meetings.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really great reminder because I think when we're in this like a loop of meetings all the time, it's easy to forget that and just kind of pop one on the calendar without a clear plan.
That's
Um,
exactly right.
so that's a really great thing to keep in mind. And would you share with us what you think is a good basic structure of a really effective meeting?
Yes. And I love the fact that you use the word basic, but it's so not basic. And it's a little bit more complicated, right? So
Mhm.
yes, basic structure should be, in my perspective, is preparation, facilitation, and clarification. That is the
Mhm.
basic structure. Preparation, facilitation, and clarification. Now, what's in each of those categories? There can be a number of things, right? So like for preparation, it really is letting people know in advance, what's the purpose of this thing? What are we
Mhm.
trying to accomplish? Why are we there? It could be brainstorming or innovating, it could be getting alignment, it could be making a particular decision, it could be solving a problem. But if people understand why they're there, what they're going to get out of it,
Mhm.
They know what to prepare, what to come informed about. And if you've prepared well, you've invited the right people into the meeting, right? Don't photobomb your meetings. Don't just invite everybody. It's if you know what you're trying to achieve, getting the right people in, prepared for the intention is really important. The next step is that facilitation, active facilitation, right? Setting expectations again at the beginning of the meeting, what we're doing, what's the purpose, what's the elevation of the conversation? Are we up high strategic, or are we like solving a tactical problem? And in that mining, in that facilitation, making sure everybody gets heard and participates. If you invited the right people, it's for a reason. So making sure that you like manage the conversation in the room to make sure everybody gets heard and nothing gets hijacked. And part of that facilitation also is tracking the decisions, tracking the conversation. If something is a great parking lot issue, but it's not right for that conversation, write that down. If people feel they're heard, okay, they didn't address my concern, but we will address it. They it's in the parking lot. Then I can stop talking about that thing. So actively facilitating to achieve that result for that meeting. And then the last 5 minutes should be clarification. It is amazing to me, and we've had this discussion where you have two people in a room and in a meeting, and they hear completely different things. So it's just like getting clarification, what the decisions were made, what the next steps are going to be, who's going to be doing what and when, and how do we keep moving this thing forward, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So preparation, facilitation, clarification. So basic, kind of not entirely basic. But
Yeah, basic as in like a good starting point, but not always easy to do. So related to this, maybe tell us a few things, or at least one thing that you could just leave out of a meeting entirely that often creeps in but could be left out.
My favorite thing to say about that is politics and ego. Like, I would love for politics and ego to be left at the door when you come into a meeting, right? Is for people to have that mindset of with a true desire to get what's best for the company. It's not the you show. And it's really about, collaborating, listening, being open to being influenced if something else is a different idea that might be better. Giving time for everybody's input. So it'd be great if politics and ego were left out. And those are some of the more interesting and engaging meetings when that's the case.
Yeah, for sure. I love that description. One of the things that came up for me was either, this is sort of silly, but either overly long, lengthy introductions or no introductions at all. If it's a relatively new group of people getting together where you're kind of not sure who the other person is, why they're there. So having that kind of sweet spot of knowing who the people are and like kind of why they're there, versus not saying anything and you're not quite sure who's there, who's weighing in and how much you can contribute. Or having really lengthy explanation of who's in the room, which could kind of sort of derail things a little bit. So anyway, kind of finding that sweet spot. And just because you're the organizer of it, people may not know each other, or they may not typically work together. So it's good.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. You're 100% right.
So Norma, tell us, in our last couple minutes, what is the most important takeaway you'd like people to know about meetings? If you could summarize it into one thing.
I would summarize it by saying that meetings are important, but use them wisely. Right? They're very expensive. You got all of these executives or all these employees in a room for an hour. Financially, that's expensive. But second, time is not a renewable resource. And so the more you can make that an effective, productive, efficient meeting, the better, right? And so just use it wisely. Like you said, sometimes people just throw the meeting on the calendar. It's like, Did we really need this? Did I really need to be here? So just be thoughtful about that.
Yeah, that's really well
Yeah.
said, and some such great points and takeaways. And I hope that this was helpful for everyone listening. Let us know, what you learned or what you're going to implement. Thank you so much, Norma, for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Of
So
course.
fun.
And if you want to learn more about TPI, just go over to teamperformanceinstitute.com and learn more about our coaching and our other services. And thank you all for listening. We'll be back again.